Are you ready to make the jump from being a solopreneur to managing a remote staff? So exciting! Except, how the do we do that? When you go from being a one man or a one woman or a one whatever show to hiring remote workers, you are giving your business the best opportunity you possibly can to grow and scale. I've got 3 tips I want to give you based on my own experiences and all the mistakes that I've already made so that you don't have to. My first tip is give every candidate a short test. I learned this one the hard way. When I was first interviewing and hiring writers, I would of course ask for samples and would make my decision based off of that alone. Why I thought that was a good idea is beyond me. What happened was I was getting samples that were beautiful, but then I would hire them and they would start working for me, and the work that they would turn in looked nothing like the samples that they had shown me when I was interviewing them. And I was like, what the F? You can largely avoid this by giving all of your candidates a test. If you're hiring a writer, you can give them a short blog that they have to write up. If you're a social media manager, you can ask them to write 5 to 10 sample Facebook posts. If you're a graphic designer, you can have them come up with a very simple logo. You're giving them this test because you want to determine a few things. Can they follow your directions? Can they meet deadlines? And can they meet quick deadlines? And I say quick deadlines because when you give this test, you should give them anywhere from 2 to 4 days to complete it. Anything less than 2, I don't feel is really fair. A week, I feel like, is too much. Importantly, pay them for the test. As long as they turn it in on time and it's complete, pay them immediately. A good time to do this is after they've sent you samples of previous work. If you like that work, give them an original test. That was tip number 1. Tip number 2, conduct a video interview. One of the most challenging parts, hands down, of managing a remote staff is that you lose that sense of community and that team feeling that you get when you are all in the same office. I'm not telling you need to be really close with these people, but you do need to take a few extra steps to try to form an actual relationship and get to know each other a little bit better. When you get on camera with someone and you can see each other's faces and hear your voices, it's just a completely different feel, and it gives you a much more genuine idea of what kind of person that remote worker is. And it gives them the opportunity to meet you too. That's important. That's my second tip. Interview them over a video call. Be very clear that it's going to be a video call so that they know to be ready for it. Tell them how much time they need to set aside. My video calls never last more than 10 minutes. And finally, make sure you have questions prepared ahead of time. Don't wing it. When should you do this step? If I get the test assignment back and I'm happy with it, I go ahead and I schedule a video interview. My third tip for interviewing and hiring remote workers: hire fast, fire faster. If you're waiting to find the perfect candidate, you might be waiting forever, so you should just stop. Don't look for someone who is perfect. If they seem like they can get the job done, and if they seem trainable, that's really important, hire them. What's the worst that could happen? I'll tell you, it doesn't work out and you fire them. And on that note, don't make the mistake that I did and let your remote workers linger if they've made it very obvious that they're not going to deliver. If someone is consistently missing deadlines, ignoring feedback, making the same mistakes even though you've corrected them many times, pull the plug. They need to go. I don't know of any rule of thumb of how long you should give a remote worker to kind of prove themselves, but just in my own personal experience, I feel that about a month is enough time to kind of gauge the situation. Don't give them a month to completely understand all of their assignments. A month isn't enough time to learn that much. The point I'm making is that you want someone who is able to learn and able to grow. That's the sign of a remote worker who can stay with you long term. A few tips before you give your remote workers access to anything: be sure they've signed an NDA and a non-compete. Second tip, even if you only need to hire one person, hire 2, 3, or even 4 people. And the reason you do this is because you're gonna have to go through a few people before you find the right one. And I'm telling you, at least 2 of those people aren't going to work out. But if you hire a few people at once, you kind of save yourself time as opposed to going one by one by one. This is totally normal. Don't, beat yourself up if you hire someone and it doesn't work out. A lot of people aren't going to work out. Third, paid training. Do it. I don't care that they're not producing work for you yet. They are working for you when they could be doing work for someone else that would pay them. So pay them for training. And lastly, when you decide to let someone go, before you tell them, make sure you remove all their access to things so that should they be the type of person who wants to retaliate, they can't. All right, that'll cover it for my 3 tips. If you haven't already, go subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.